Well, I gave you one number to watch, 175.50. That was the price trigger baked into the lockup agreement. The price where forced index buying would have tripped an early unlock, armed the feedback loop, and made Path A the dangerous outcome for bears. On July 6th, the day the NASDAQ forced buying was supposed to hit, here is exactly what happened. For most of the afternoon, SpaceX sat in the 155-156 range, drifting lower through the session. Then, at 3:30 Eastern, the NASDAQ orders started executing. The forced buying hit the tape. The stock climbed from 155.22, about a little past 3:30, to 160.32 at the close. $5.10 in about over 30 minutes. That's what the biggest forced buying event in NASDAQ history did to SpaceX stocks. Just $5.10 in the last half hour of trading. The trigger needed $15 more to fire. It wasn't sky high like we feared, so Path B was never in doubt. Let me walk you through the full week because the chart tells you the story better than anything I can say. SpaceX was sitting around 162 going into July 6th. During the day, it actually drifted down. The market was already selling in anticipation of the buy the rumor, sell the news dynamic. Then the MOC orders hit, the NASDAQ 100 tracking funds, the QQQ, and every passive vehicle that had to own the stock by July 7th executed their buy orders at the closing bell. And the stock bounced to 160.32. The next morning, July 7th, the inclusion was effective and the stocks sold hard. Because the buying was done, there was no more price-insensitive demand underneath it. Every passive fund had owned SpaceX, already owned it. What was left? Just the open market. And the open market said, well, this thing was worth less than where we bought it. SpaceX closed Friday, July 10th at 145.30, down about 12.5% for the week. That's about the 52-week low. Well, also the week low. 145.07 was the intraday bottom on Friday. The market cap has gone from $2.5 trillion now to about $1.9 trillion. And not a single investor has sold a share yet. When I published episode 4, I said watch the fork in the road. If July 6th forced buying pushed SpaceX through 175.50, Path A, trigger fires, feedback loop arms early, squeeze fuel would have gotten a second wind. If the buying got absorbed and the price faded, Path B, the supply flood sets up cleanly. The prime short window opens. We are in Path B, cleanly and completely, on Path B. The forced buyers have already bought. The trigger did not fire. The one-time demand is gone, and the unlock calendar is still fully loaded and ahead of us. On Path B, we skip that chaos entirely. The thesis is developing in the cleanest possible way. The stock is already down 35% from its 52-week high of about 225. And the insiders haven't even been allowed to sell yet. Let me show you where we are on the calendar. We are now in the setup window, the amber zone. The danger zone is behind us. The forced buyers have done their buying. The prime window opens when the supply flood starts. August 20th, day 70, is the first 7% slice. General insiders can sell up to 7% of their holdings starting that day. This is the first real test. Does the market absorb it, or does SpaceX fade on the news? Then, every few weeks after that, day 90, 105, 120, 135, another 7% each time. By the time you get through all 5 slices, the float has roughly doubled from where it started. Then, late October or November, Q3 earnings, a 28% chunk unlocks. That's the biggest single wave. And then December 8th, day 180, 100% of the non-Musk insider shares are free to trade. Every unlocked date bleeds a little more squeeze out of the fuel tank. The borrow costs drop. The trade gets cleaner and safer as the supply grows. Now, a lot of you are going to ask, what about SSPC, the 2x daily inverse ETF on SpaceX? Well, Path E being confirmed does not mean you buy this ETF and hold it. Nothing has changed about how this ETF works. It still resets every single day in the choppy market, which is exactly what we might get as the stock digests the post-inclusion selling. That daily reset bleeds the value even when SpaceX goes sideways. The setup is cleaner now than it was in July. The squeeze risk is lower because the forced buying is behind us. But this ETF is still a short-term trade around specific catalysts, not a buy and hold. The cleanest windows are going to be around the unlock dates themselves. Watch what the stock does in the days after each 7% slice hits. That is when you get the signal. One more thing, the wild card nobody can model. Elon. He has moved markets with a single sentence before. Tesla funding secured, cost short sellers billions overnight. A Dogecoin tweet moved the whole asset class. If he announces a major Starlink contract, a new government deal, or says anything that gets clipped and goes viral, SpaceX can gap up against any bearish position we can react to. This doesn't change the thesis, but it's a real risk that doesn't show up on any chart, and you need to have your position sized for it. In episode 4, the number was 175.50. That number will be retired. It will never fire. Forced buying is gone. The stock is $30 below that trigger. The new number to watch is August 20th. On that date, the first 7% slice of insider shares becomes eligible for sale. Watch 3 things. Number 1, volume. If you see sudden spike in SpaceX volume around August 20th, insiders are moving. Number 2, borrow costs. As more shares become available to borrow, the cost to borrow SpaceX should drop. When borrow cost drops meaningfully, the short trade should get safer. Number 3, price reaction. If the stock fades on August 20th and doesn't recover within a day or two, that tells you the market has no bid strong enough to absorb the new supply. That's the early signal that the supply flood is landing. So here's the thing. Path B confirmed. The dangerous window is behind us. The stock is at a 52-week low, and the insiders haven't sold a single share yet. The flood starts on August 20th. Watch the volume, the borrow, and the price reaction. That tells you how the rest of this plays out. Don't short the scarcity, short the flood. Time it to the unlocks. If you want me to track this on August 20th as it hits live, comment August 20th below. That tells me you want the update. And as always, good luck. Take care. Hopefully, I'll see you on August 20th. Bye-bye.